Hurst from Hamilton County Schools. We're going to continue our work with Little Red Cap, Little Red Riding Hood today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. To do a warm-up today, I want you guys to think about what other themes might pop up in Little Red Riding Hood. So we identified the theme that it is important to be cautious of strangers, but there are likely other themes in this text. So go ahead and make a list of other themes that might pop up in Little Red Riding Hood. Pause me while you do this warm up and press play when you're ready to continue. All right, so today we're going to compare and contrast how two texts portray the same theme, and these are very similar texts. So we read Little Red Cap by the Grimm brothers. Today we're going to read Little Red Riding Hood by Charles Perrault. And we're going to think about how do the differences in the two stories highlight or detract from the same theme. So they both have the same theme. We're going to think about which one does it better and why. So as you do a first read, I didn't do this yesterday's lesson, but I thought it would be good to just show it to you guys again. So I want you to notice who the story is about, what happens, where and when it happens, and why those involved react as they do. Annotate by marking vocabulary and key passages you want to revisit. Connect ideas within the selection to what you already know and what you've already read, and respond by completing well, you're not going to do the comprehension check, you're just going to write a summary. So this is from the textbook and we don't have a comprehension check for this, so you'll just write a summary. Pause me while you do your first read and press play when you're ready to continue. All right, like I said, we're going to be looking at the differences in the two texts and thinking about, does that make the theme more obvious or less obvious? So we're going to think about some pretty big differences. We're not going to think about like wording differences, but actual plot differences. So the first one I noticed was that her mother does not give her a warning to be careful in this version of the text. So I have both texts right here. So in Little Red Cap, her mom says, behave yourself on the way and do not leave the path or you might fall down and break the glass and then there'll be nothing for your grandmother. And when you enter her parlor, don't forget to say good morning and don't peer into all the corners first. She gives her a warning to be careful. In Little Red Riding Hood, she just says, go, my dear, and see how your grandmother is doing, for I fear she has been very ill. Take her a cake in this little pot of butter. And her mother doesn't give her a warning at all. So I think the warning in the first text served as foreshadowing that something bad would happen. So the reader was less likely to trust the wolf. In this text, I spell wolf wrong every time. In this text, the removal of the warning detracts from the development of the theme because the reader might not be thinking we should be cautious of the wolf. I think taking that out takes away from the theme. What I want you guys to do is find another example of a difference from the first text to this text and tell me, does that highlight the theme? Does it bring more attention to the theme or does it make it less obvious like this one did? Pause me while you do that and press play when you're ready to continue. All right, so the next one I noticed is that in this version of the text, the wolf doesn't distract Little Red Riding Hood. He tells her he is going to grandmother's house, whereas in the last time he didn't. So again, I've got the texts. He, in the first one, in Little Red Cap, he says, Little Red Cap, just look at the beautiful flowers that are all around us. Why don't you go and take a look? And I don't believe you can hear how beautifully the birds are singing. You're walking as though you were on your way to school. It's very beautiful in the woods. So he tries to distract her. Whereas in Little Red Riding Hood, he says, I'll go and see her too. I'll go this way and go you that, and we shall see who will be there first. So in Little Red Riding Hood, he just straight up says, I'm going to your grandmother's house. So I think the wolf is less, I spell it wrong every time, less tricky, but Little Red Riding Hood is still tricked. So I think this detracts from the theme or takes away from the theme because the wolf comes off as less evil. But I also think it adds to it because Little Red Riding Hood is still oblivious. I mean, still completely oblivious to what's happening. Okay. If you don't have another example, I want you to go ahead and get another example. I have 2 more examples of things that were changed. So try to get at least 1 more example. 2 would be great. Because I want you to remember that good readers consider how a theme can be developed in a different manner in a different text. And then to show me that you understand this, I want you to do a quick write. How did the differences in today's text highlight or detract from that same theme? We should be cautious of strangers. Make sure to include at least 1 piece of evidence or example that we did not go over in class. So you can use these examples, but you have to have at least 1 more. Once you finish that, you are good to go. Have a wonderful rest of your day.